Hey everyone, welcome to Unleash Your Life Force. I am your host, Dr. Natasha Nelson. So, today we're going to talk about the emotion of resentment and how it relates to the ability to let go, and really what that means regarding your gut health. And yes, if you're thinking your colon and letting go, and it's not even subtle. So I want to talk about all of that because this is where the emotional component of physical dis-ease shows up. And this is really about the mind-body connection and somatic healing and what that really means at its core, which is how to use emotions and how to understand the signs and symptoms that your body is telling you and how to interpret that to know how to start the healing process. So that's what we're going to take a deep dive today into the emotion of resentment. And really, resentment can feel so intense, and it's a very powerful emotion, and it's designed to get our attention of something that's deeply affecting the energy in our body, that's affecting our health. It's affecting your ability to function and compromising your health. So when we look at resentment, think about anger that hasn't been able to flow, anger that we can't seem to let go of. So what is resentment though? Because resentment is connected with anger, but it's even deeper than that. And when you think about resentment, it's that place where maybe you wish that a person or that people could have been just better people. They could have been better humans. It's like you look at the actions or the behaviors of somebody or a group of people, and it cost you something. Whatever it is that they did, what they engaged in, it cost you something of value. And you just can't let go of what you feel that you were robbed of. So anger is a little bit different in that you can feel angry because you feel hurt by what somebody said or did. But resentment is feeling the loss. It's the loss of something of value to you because of what somebody else did. And the resentment is not being able to let go of what you feel that you were robbed of. And it's that place where your mind has a difficult time reconciling the bad behavior, because if there was a lack of consequences for the bad behavior, then there is a gap. And it's that gap or the void where there was no consequences for bad behavior that creates a sense of resentment. So if if there are no consequences and it feels like there's no justice for a wrongdoing, our mind can't seem to complete that cycle or complete that loop to make sense of it. And when the mind can't make sense of what's happened, the mind has a hard time letting go, because part of letting go comes from being able to complete the cycle of understanding, which means you've been able to make sense of it, or just somehow making sense. Even if you don't like it, being able to have some understanding of what happened or why it happened, something that the mind can hold on to. And when we don't have that, it's that void that keeps draining the energy. And that's where the resentment shows up. Sometimes resentment can continue into the place where we start thinking about, like revenge or, and fantasies of revenge. And sadly, when people take it out and act on that revenge, what the revenge is trying to create the consequences or justice for something that is perceived as unjust or unfair. And part of resentment is going to be where we are wishing or we were hoping or deeply wanting something to be different, but it's wishing someone or somebody could have been different or somehow better and just different in how they behaved. When we feel resentment and we're stuck in that cycle of resentment, the energy of that emotion, when it has nowhere to go, it goes in. And when it goes in and it gets stuck, it will get stuck in our colon, in our intestines. So I want you to think about what our intestines do. What is the point of our colon? What our colon, so the intestines, there's 20 feet of tubes from your small intestines to the large intestines. And the intestines is designed to pull out all the nourishment from the food that we eat and leave all of the stuff that the body doesn't need. And as it moves into the colon, that's where the body will pull out even more of the nourishment, but that's really all of the water that is in what we ingested. And then the colon is where all of the byproduct, all the toxins, all of the crap, and I'm going to use a profane word, so plug your ears if you don't want to hear it. It's where all the shit gets collected until it is released and let go, and our body gets rid of it. So I want you to think now about how resentment plays a role with our intestines and our colon. Because when we are resentful, we are holding on to something that somebody did, something somebody said. We are holding on so tightly as if holding on to it is going to keep it real and keep it active. But what it does is holding on will interfere with the muscles in the colon. It interferes with the muscles in the intestines, which means that your body cannot get rid of and allow all of the crap and all of the byproduct and all of the stuff that your body has detoxed. It can't release it. It's not flowing out. You are not letting go of it, which means you're constipated, which means you can also have other issues regarding the colon and the intestines. Because it's easy to think about constipation when you're like, yeah, you're holding on to it, nothing's flowing, nothing's going, there's no movement of the energy. But when there's no movement and your body is accumulating crap, it's also accumulating all the toxins, all of the toxic material that's left over from the food that we've eaten and from every toxic chemical that our body has absorbed or ingested gets stuck in the colon. And the body has a natural response to that. it can only tolerate so much buildup before it starts to create significant imbalances in the body. Chemically, hormonally, everything starts to become affected. So the body's going to squeeze as hard as it can to get rid of it, which can cause irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, um, as well as bloating, leaky gut syndrome. All of these ailments that have to do with the colon and the intestines is all about the irregular bowel movements and irregular cycle of how the body functions. So the way the body functions physically is every time you eat a meal, another meal is supposed to be excreted out. So new food in, last food out. So really we should be excreting a minimum of once a day, but anywhere 2 to 3 is actually normal. So that's to give you some insight about how we should be processing emotions as well. So life happens, things happen. We ingest toxins from other people's behaviors, from their actions, from things going on in the world, news, things that you hear, other people's energy. You hear it, you feel it. We should also be able to process that energy through and allow it to come out on a regular basis and regular flow. So what is this telling you if you are unable to allow things to flow through and you're holding on and maybe very tight and holding on to wishing it was different and holding on to the anger and holding on to what action or behavior somebody did that cost you some way or somehow? Well, the skill is learning how to let go. It's learning how to let go of wishing other people could have been better humans. It's letting go of wishing that other people could have been different in that moment. It's a little bit separate from forgiveness. And that's a different day. That we'll talk about that on a different episode. Today is really about letting go and learning how to let energy flow and let your body restore to proper function. Because sometimes letting go, it's not just about somebody else's behaviors or actions. Letting go can also mean letting go of the person that you were at that time. Letting go of outdated beliefs that you may have had that no longer work, they no longer serve you, they are causing you pain. Because maybe what you need to let go of is not about somebody else. It's about the previous version of yourself that caused you harm, the previous version of how you used to operate that has robbed you of maybe money, maybe love and joy, or health, or relationships. Maybe what you are letting go of is how you used to operate, how you used to behave, who you used to be. And there's a void that you are moving into. And there can be a sadness with letting go of the parts of you that you don't want to let go of. So I want you to think about how letting go is really about seeing the bigger picture. Seeing the bigger picture, connecting the dots, looking at the circumstances and the situation from distance and from a higher view. And that includes you as well as other people. because we don't know. Nobody gets to know the big picture. All you know is that moment, and all you know is the past. So part of letting go is about being able to see the bigger picture and how the systems and connecting those dots. But instead of focusing on letting go from this is where people make the mistake of feeling digestive issues and difficulty in letting go physically, is you look at it emotionally. And part of how to let go is you have to start with being honest about what actually happened. And being honest includes your role or your part. This is not about blame, it's not about shame. It's about being honest. How or what or where did you contribute to that situation or that circumstance? So that's what resentment is. That's how it connects to your intestines, your gut, the health of your gut and your digestive system, and how it's tied into being able to learn how to let go. Letting go physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, anything you need to let go of. So that's today's lesson about the mind-body connection and the emotional meaning of physical disease. So the physical disease of the gut, the emotional ties to resentment, and what it is that you are unable or unwilling to let go of. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this was helpful, at least informative, and I would love to hear from you. Give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment, give me some feedback, because I like to know how this is helping you to restore the energy of your body, let the energy flow, and let the body restore health at the cellular level. So thank you so much. And until next time, just stay connected to your body and trust what's coming up for you. All right. I'm Dr. Natasha Nelson. I'll see you next time. Bye.